Kyle here from All Media Reviews. I'm going to do more vinyl collection A to Z. I'm going to start the K's. If I can get both, probably 2 videos because it's going to be long. So anyway, so I have, starting with Kansas, I have the self-titled Kansas album. It has a lot of great tracks on it, including Journey from Maribyrnong. I haven't listened to this in a long time, but that's my go-to on here. Anyway, so then I have, this was I think my parents. Yeah, I don't have, there's a lot of Kansas I still don't have, unfortunately. I thought I had them, but I don't. I swear I was buying them all, because you'd see them. But I have the Point of No Return, which came out in '77. The self-title I think was 75? 74, 74. So, I'm doing this, looking at this correct here. The Kansas history. Okay, I have Point of No Return, and I have Leftoverture. Leftoverture is considered by many of their finest work. Carry On Wayward, The Wall, what's the other? Cheyenne Anthem, and Magnum Opus. I don't know if this is the first pressing, but then oh, my head's being cut off again. Then Point of No Return. I know this was my folks. I think my mom likes Dust in the Wind. It's got Dust in the Wind. It's got the title track, Paradox, Portrait He Knew. You know, they were consistent in the '70s, Kansas. Let me see if this will help. I have these problems here. Maybe that will help a little bit. Apologies for that in the last video. So that's the extent of it. So I have a bunch of holes with Kansas. I have 2 or 3 records I need to get. I don't think I have them on CD either. I have the box set right there, the singles box set. So, alright, I have one album from Australian prog metal band, you know, art rock band, modern progressive art rock band. Karnivool, the debut album Themata, which I've said many times, it's my go-to. The one album, the production's fine. The first 2 tracks, Coat and Themata, are probably 2 of the best songs I ever did, but it's filled with a lot. I mentioned this a couple months ago when I showed this. But yeah, it's a great record that came out in 2007. Anyway, let me see if I can still get this up a little bit. It's all work in progress. So that's it. I don't have the other 2 records on vinyl. And hopefully we'll get a new record at some point, but who knows. So, alright, I've got, 3 records from this artist. It's Kimbra, of course, not from Australia. Spent time in Australia. Now lives in America, lives in New York, or upstate New York. But this is her debut album, Vows. Unfortunately, this is not the version that came out in 2011 that included, what was it? The last 2, well, it's got Home in the Build-Up. There's a song missing on here, because they added that song. It's got Sally, I Can See You, which I love that. That was one of the extra tracks, but I prefer the 2011 version slightly over the 2012 version. But this is like a mixture. This is the major label, the Warner Brothers version. So then I've got the follow-up. And this includes like a hilograph or whatever you want to call it. It's like a poster kind of thing with graphics. This is the Golden Echo from 2014. It's kind of covered, the track list is covered up there. I'd have to pull it out. But this is a terrific record also. I mean, I didn't talk about the track list on, but including on Vows, but on the debut album. But Miracle, I had at my wedding. Carolina, Goldmine, Waltz Me to the Grave. As You Are. Even Teen Heat, I like a lot. 90s Music was the opening single. I didn't love it, but I don't mind it. I mean, compared to some of the stuff she's been doing recently, I like it more anyway. So that was 2014, and then the 2018 album that followed that. But she put out some singles between it, but Primal Heart. So, which has a few songs I like. Human, what is it? Light Years, Black Sky. It was a little bit of a departure for her. It wasn't as, I don't say that, is it poppy? It was more glitchy and electronic at points. Everybody Knows is another one. They're like, Top of the World was in a video game. Of course, I don't have her new record on vinyl at this point. I may eventually get it. But I have the t-shirt. I decided to get a t-shirt instead of the vinyl. Reconstruction, I forget the name. It starts with an R. I'll have it in probably on my Albums of the Year list coming up at the end of the year here. Anyway, so moving on, I've got Josh King's Into the Blue. Josh King from House of Fools. The No House of Fools records that ever came out on vinyl, but he put out a solo record. I want to say it was 2018. It was. which it's kind of singer-songwriter, but still has a little bit of the House of Fools element, the trippy kind of psychedelic Pink Floyd-y element at point. But I don't know. The sad thing about House of Fools is they were all set to put out a reunion record, and then COVID happened, like a lot of bands. You know, Hotel Laughing Tree, they did it. This is the CD right here. But you know, we didn't get it. We haven't. It hasn't happened for House of Fools at this point. Maybe it will. Anyway. So moving on. Now here's the one of the biggies. So King Crimson. I've got 2 copies that are older pressings. One's an import, a Japanese import of In the Court of the Crimson King, the debut album. It's a classic debut. I mean, it's not a perfect record, but it's pretty close. I mean, I still love it, even though I've kind of burnt down on some of the songs. You know, the title track, Epitaph, and 21st Century Schizoid Man. Because I Talk to the Wind, of course, too. It's iconic, you know. Came out in '69. So moving on, I have 1 copy only of In the Wake of Poseidon, the final album that had Greg Lake, rather. I don't know the track list in front of me to like just pull it up and start naming off favorites. I like a lot of this record. Was it something in Cascade? Cadence and Cascade. This has Cat Food, I believe, on it also. I remember thinking I wasn't going to like this album nearly as much as I did. The Devil's Triangle, the title track, you know, Pictures of a City. It's kind of overlooked in some ways, but I really like this record, even though I know kind of the writing was on the wall about, you know, Greg wanting to leave and everything. This came out, I think, the year after. It's like 1970. If I can manage to put this back in. So that was In the Wake of Poseidon from King Crimson. So I've got a copy of Islands. There's seen Scott, you know, from the Prog Corners video of 10 or 12 albums that he didn't like and now likes, and he included, I think this is the one. I don't have a copy of Lizard, and, you know, I've never spent enough time with this. I know that when Steven Wilson did Grace for Drowning, he was taking a lot of inspiration from this record and from the record before it. And also like Circus or whatever, but this is a promo. I need to spend some time on this. My take on it, obviously the lineup was different. You didn't have that sort of 70s, the early 70s period with John Wetton and Bill Bruford on this particular lineup. But that's Islands from like 71, 70 or 71. Because I know they did record, I'm forgetting now the name of it before that. But the lineups were kind of changed. It was just Robert Fripp, you know, different people going in and out. So I do have in Lark's Tongue and Aspic, of course. This is the first of the sort of that trilogy of records, which didn't feature the exact same lineup, but mostly they had, you know, David Cross, Jamie Muir, and of course Bruford and Wetton. Bruford and Wetton were the two key guys. This was 73. Well, it took me a while to find that on vinyl. I remember I rarely would see it for a reasonable price used. So then I had Starless and Bible Black. This is, I think, the last one I got. I think this was in 74. It featured the same lineup. Yes. Yep. Bruford, it says William Bruford, Wetton, Fripp, and Cross. So, which, you know, The Night Watch is probably my go-to in the title track. You know, of course, they talk about Starless and Bible Black on Starless, the song that came on. And The Great Deceiver's great. So then I eventually did get a copy of this as a gift, I believe. A friend of my wife's bought this. And then, you know, Jamie Muir left the band, so it's just the 3 of them, really. I think it was like, you know, they had other people. David Cross, the Crimson History, yeah. David Cross, rather. David Cross was on this, but he wasn't on all of it. It was basically just, there were Robert Fripp, John Wetton, and Bill Bruford. But this is, of course, Red, which is some people consider their classic. I mean, between that and The Court of the Crimson King. The title track people love. I like it. One More Red Nightmare, and of course Starless, which is the 12-minute 18. Providence. I mean, it's excellent. The production's excellent. The playing's, I mean, it's a classic for a reason. This came out in 74, I believe. Yep, August of 74. London, England, July and August of 74. Either when it came out or when it was recorded, I'm not sure. And then I have Three of a Perfect Pair. I don't have Discipline, the other stuff on vinyl, unfortunately, but I just have this one, which I know I paid, well, I really paid $5 at Heine's for it. That was many years ago, but of course this is the 80s line. I think this is the second They did Discipline in this, and then they did Beat. The title track is terrific. The rest of this record, it's got Larstown and Aspic Part 3, of course. You know, Tony Levin, Adrian Belew, and then Bruford, of course. But this came out 80... I want to say 83. Well, 82 or 83. 84, actually. You know, understanding the timeline of Robert Fripp's, the Guitar Craft stuff, and then he did Crimson again. He was, of course, playing with Peter Gabriel and Bowie. Bowie, of course, the Berlin Pit in the late 70s. He was kind of going back and forth. I mean, the trajectory, you kind of do a timeline where he's on each one. Eventually, he was focused on Crimson about 80, whenever that was, 81 or 82. So, King Crimson, now we're doing King's X. I've shown all these, mostly, if not all of them. I think almost all of them on my King's X series, but I'll show them again. So I have All the Silent Planet, of course. The debut album from 1988. Classic record. Goldilocks. There's just so many songs. Goldilocks, King, What Is This? Those are my 3 favorites. So then I've got Gretchen Goes to Nebraska from the year after. Concept album. All the Silent Planet, Over My Head. You know, Pleiades, Summerland. Then I've got Faith, Hope, Love from 1990, so it's like they're doing one album a year. Is this Faith, Hope? Yeah, this is. It says 92 on Mega. Am I not reading that correctly? It's 1990, I believe. So yeah, I love this record too. The title track, Find Our Friendship, We Are Finding Who We Are, Moan Jam. It's got so many songs I enjoy. I love this record too. That was the 3rd record on Megaforce and Atlantic, and I have this It's Love single. Which I got at, it was at No Name Records many years ago. I was shocked to see. I did a video, I showed a little video clip of it. But We Were Born to Be Loved in Sick Broken Shoulders, this extended version's on the B-side, side 2 or whatever. But It's Love is probably their most commercial song, sadly. It's not a bad song, but there's so many other songs that's so much better. So then I have a reissue that is of the 4th self-titled album, but the last album with Sam Taylor. World Around Me, Prisoner, Lost in Germany, Not Just for the Dead, What I Know About Love, you know, Dream of My Life. It's got Black Flag, it's just filled. But I'm a King's X fanboy, so go figure. And I've got Dogman, of course, the red cover. I mean, I think they had vinyl for all 3 of them, but this came out in 93, of course. It was 93 or 94, it was 94, actually. They mentioned 1993 in it. My favorite song on this album is Fool You, but Pretend, the title track is in some ways their best song, their best lyrics ever. It just works on so many levels. Cigarettes is dreamy, you know, Flies in Blue Skies, Black the Sky. It's got a ton of great tracks, although, you know, there's a difference, and it's all Doug. Doug does all the vocals, all the lead vocals, I believe. So then I've got Ear Candy, the last album they did on Atlantic, which is maybe their most poppy album. This is the album that came out when I became a fan in 96. This came out in 96. A Box, it's terrific, very repetitive, but it's dreamy. The Train, you know, sometimes it's kind of less is more. Mississippi Moon's a favorite, and then American Cheese, Jerry's Piento. Anyway, this album has, again, the poppiest they ever got, the most power pop, but it works when they do it. You know, there's a ton of great tracks on this album. Run's another one. So then they signed to Metal Blade, and I've got Tapehead, the first album on Metal Blade, which has a lot of highlights. Groove Machine, Fade, Over and Over, Oh No, Cupid. Anyway, that came out in 98, I believe. And then I have Please Come Home, Mr. Bulbous. These all came out on Records Today the last couple of years, which features Charlie Sheen, She's Gone Away, Fishbowl Man, Marshmallow Field, Move Me Part 1 and 2. Great record. Even though it's experimental and trippy at times, I loved it at the time, and I still enjoy it a lot. And I have the album I always go to bat for that a lot of people don't care as much for. To me, it's a classic, Manic Moonlight. Believe, title track, yeah, False Alarm. All these songs are terrific. Vegetable maybe being the biggest standout. This came out in 2001, I believe. Yeah, it was 2001. These were numbered. Of course, the more Record Store Day. And then I have the new record I just got a few weeks ago from 2022, Three Sides of One, which kind of is less is more. Let It Rain, Festival, Holidays, those are probably my biggest highlights, but the Jerry songs I like a lot on this album. So it's great for us to get another album from them. Given they said they record a lot of songs, we might get another record at some point. Let's hope. With one more record before they're done. Doug just celebrated his 73rd birthday. Happy birthday, Doug Pinnick. Belated birthday. So, moving on, Kiss Kiss, the one record they put out, they only put out 2 standard full-lengths from 2007. Reality versus the Optimist. I love this record. It's only like 30-some minutes long, but it makes the most of every second, basically. Janet, the last 2 tracks, Vagabond and Stay They, the string arrangements are great. Even Joy Epiter 3 has talked about that. Satellite, Machines. If you like progressive art rock, you know, with a little punk element, but just great energy, great violin work, dynamics. You like a lot of Zappa-isms and System of a Down-isms. This is a band and an album to check out. Reality versus the Optimist from Kiss Kiss. So then I showed this like a month or 2 ago, and I finally found this. This is Clint 1918's their second standard record, the one I go to the most catchy, poppy, and sort of U2-ish. In some ways. This is Doppelganger from 2005. The late Shane, I got to thank him from Medium Music, really turned me on to this when he did his albums of the year in 2005. But They Were Wed by the Sea, Snow of 85, Night Driver, the title track Lomo, Sleepwalk in Rome. You know, it's post-rock, it's like Dredge kind of, you know, it's not as heavy as there's some of their other stuff, but it's very atmospheric, but catchy and energetic at the same time. A lot of great, double bass on here as well. I believe it's double bass lace. So I have one more in the case. This obscure artist by the name of Nicholas Krigovich. I heard this on Radio K, and that's why I bought it. He hasn't really put anything out since that I've really liked, but this is an album called On Sunset. I want to say it came out in like 2013 or 2014. Early to mid 2010s. 2014. Yeah, because they played it on our local college station, Radio K here, and I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of atmospheric pop in some ways, and that's just a weird way to, I can't remember the song they played on. They talked about going to the Academy Awards, like, everyone's going to the Academy Awards with me, I'm not invited. That was the song. It's got the lyrics in the back. I don't remember which track it was, but, and I know it finished up, I think maybe City of Night. It finished on my list that year in 2014. It was like in the top 30 or something, but anyway, it was good to support this guy. Unfortunately, again, his stuff since I haven't really been as into, but this album I really like. It's called On Sunset from 2014. So that ends up all the Ks. But anyway, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll see you next time.